Of our next speaker. He used to regularly make Graham Norton dance as the resident DJ in Heaven's VIP club room, so you might want to talk to him at beers later, see if he's got any stories to spill. But now he choreographs large-scale change. His name is Edd Atcheson. He's the principal of experience design at Adobe, and Ed is going to give us insights on big digital transformations. So heads up, he thinks that strategy should not be tied to vision. Very controversial.
Hey all, a bit loud there. Hopefully you're not going to be in a carb snooze mode. We've had beer, we've had pizza. Hope this is going to wake people up. So, I'm Ed. And my clicker works. There we go. I'm Principal of Experience Innovation at Adobe. But I'm not here to talk to you about Photoshop or PDF, thankfully not Flash anymore. I'm here to talk to you about digital transformation, my experience of digital transformation, and how actually UX strategy is not about the UX vision. It should be so much more than that. And hopefully I'll take you on a bit of journey about what my learnings have been. And it's interesting, a lot of the prior speakers touched on a lot of things that I'm going to touch as well, so we've all had those similar experiences. So I've been working for digital transformation for about 20 years. These are some of the customers I've been helping transform. Some successfully, some not so successfully. You learn from the non-successful ones and you try and make the other ones more successful. And in the last 5-6 years before joining Adobe, these are the companies I've been transforming using Adobe's Experience Cloud. And I'll touch on that a little bit in the future about what Adobe does and how that helps companies. But for now I want to talk about digital transformation. Now, the trouble with digital transformation is that there are many challenges. And I had a colleague that I worked for who likened it to heart surgery. Digital transformation is opening somebody up and bypassing the heart. And the trouble is, that person's also jogging down the street as well. You can't stop a business with hundreds of people from going on doing their work whilst you transform the business. So you need to think really carefully about how you do it. And it's sad, I know we're all UX and designers here, but UX and design, it's an afterthought. There we go, pops in at the end. We decide as a company we need to transform, and UX and design typically goes, well, whilst we're transforming, we'll go out there, get some new designs in, make it look great, solve all the niggles. And really, that's because of the way transformation starts. So we start off with a business case, and quite often the business case starts with a re-architecture, like this. This is LinkedIn architecture. I didn't do anything for LinkedIn, but typically there's a burning platform. They think we can go and save millions by changing the way our servers run. Well, customers never bought anything because they had amazing servers. Or you get this. I came into this company, and I don't know if anyone can guess who this company is. This is their vision for digital transformation. And you'll notice there is probably a line in there. Yes, there's a line there which is actually about UX and design. Yeah, you'll never guess where it is. Let's see if this works. There we go, CMS relaunch. One little line. And the dates were never baseline, but we did actually launch in the end. Or the business case comes from something like this, which is where you look at the business experience, and you can say, great. Ooh, too many clicks. There we go. We can say we've cut 15 man days out of this process. Brilliant. 300% cost savings, 40 million a year, whatever it is. This is slightly better, but it's still not really touching on why you need to transform. And it's not giving you a space to do UX vision. What I generally do is when I come into companies like this, I'd say, you need a vision. You need to see where you're going, so you can aim the customer experience in that way. And typically the UX strategy is your long-term plan of how to get to that vision across every single touch point. But there's a problem with this. And I found it. I tried this. And you got the UX vision in place. You talk to product owners, product managers, senior management. And you got this face. People just didn't understand sometimes why the customer experience had to change. Particularly because they were measured on clicks or on sales. And you were telling them, no, sometimes sales is wrong if it's the wrong sale. And this led to this on many occasions, which is a very bruised forehead or a bang my head against a wall. Because no matter how hard you try and persuade people about the benefits of customer experience, there's always people who still, because they're getting paid for their clicks, because they're getting paid for their sales or their services, they don't want to change. Because change is hard. Change means their certain world where they know they're going to get a 2% more and get a big bonus the next year might go out the window. There's always a risk. So they don't want to change. And even worse, it's a little video about what it could mean for the company if your product owners are still following click.
Peter, come take a look at this. Mr. Daniels.
Look at this.
What's this?
The numbers, they keep getting bigger and bigger.
Clicks are off the charts.
Yeah.
Yoshi, it's Walter. We're back.
Yes, sir! Ay! Orida! Motto! Tracking! More shifting!
I need more trees. More trees? I'll get you more trees.
Hey, take a look at wood pulp.
Whoa. Everything you got on wood pulp right now.
He really loves that thing.
Is that still do that? I was talking to one just the other day. You get into that mindset and just about the clicks, you make decisions on the clicks. So how do you change this? Well, you need cake. And I'm not talking about comfort food here, but you need to attract people to people like your brand. And so even that's hard, but unless you start with a cake, you're not going to succeed because you need to change people's ways of working. And if you reward them, if you give their bonuses, not just on sales, you still need that with servicing, but if you do that on advocacy, on net promoter score, on the way that users feel, then you start to get change. Then they start to care about it. But it's not just cake. So how do you deliver the UX strategy? Well, you need to start with a business strategy. Understand that. And the customer experience really exposes that business strategy on top. But the customer experience isn't something you redesign over a 6-month, 12-month, 18-month transformation project. It should only be the starting point, because you need to create and sustain and innovate on top of that customer experience. Constantly, you have to evolve. Because as companies, our products and services now are mere commodities. It's experience, which is our brand. So you need to put your cake in. Here's my cake, KPIs. And then you need the business experience on top of that. This is, you've got to make it easy for people to change and easy for people to go and create digital experiences. I was working with a company the other day and it took 9 different roles to change an image. Now if it takes 9 different roles to change an image, you're never going to change that image, it's too damn hard. Or you're only going to change it if you really, really have to. Otherwise you're not going to play around with it, you're not going to change it. You're just going to let it be. And then the technology, well that's the last sector, and that really has to be invisible. You can't let the technology dictate what the business experience is, what the KPIs are, and it's too easy on transformation to say it's easier to develop the technology like this, and we'll just put a manual in. I worked with Delta Airlines who had a 250-page manual, and they said, our system's easy, just read the manual. Everyone's got it. And that sweet spot in the middle where all of those meet is really want to get to. So how do you do this? We have a dilemma. Because typically, as UX and design, sweet spot in the middle where all of those meet is really want to get to. So how do you do this? We have a dilemma. Because typically, as UX and design community, we don't have big, huge teams. Quite often you have quite small teams, quite small budgets. So how do you affect change? Well, if you look at the roles that we generally do, which is analysis of the site, analysis of user behaviour, we gain hypotheses, we test them out, and then we optimise. What if we stop doing the dull stuff in UX? Stop doing stuff like frequently asked questions redesign. Hands up anyone who's been doing GDPR wireframes recently. Yeah? Oh, lots of you. I bet it's fun. So what if we stopped doing that and focused on the really cool stuff? And we said, everyone in the business, the frontline staff, we are going to let them do the UX and the design. They're going to own the experience because they're in the budgets. So am I mad? Well, there's a lot of work in creating and sustaining an organisation. And there's a lot of dull stuff, like GDPR wireframes, super important. But I don't want to do another FAQ page. I don't want to do another product hub. I want to do the stuff that really changes customer experience. And I want also the product owners, the product managers to become accountable for what they do and take ownership rather than me banging their head against the wall. So instead of this, why don't you put the product owner at the start and then you change them from a product owner into a journey manager, someone who owns that complete journey. Then they can make digital change themselves. Sounds crazy. But then you put a facilitation zone around them because they will need a little bit of training. They will need to speak to the design team, to the UX team, to facilitate. We can coach them. And the dev team, the data analysts. And then because we're not completely crazy, we need an audit trail around that. Because they're going to mess up. It's not going to be perfect. We're all perfectionists often, a lot of the time, at UX and designers. But they're not going to do pixel perfect stuff, and we have to accept that and move on. Now, this isn't just some kind of fairy tale pipe dream. I've tried this out successfully in a number of companies, and I've nearly got there on a couple of others as well. So today I'm going to talk to you about RBS. I probably all know, everyone knows the Royal Bank of Scotland. They have customers from the Queen all the way down to us. Various scandals unfolded just after I joined. Nothing to do with me. I just happened to have really bad timing. But 24 million customers across the world, and they want to regain trust. We weren't going to do that through redesigning the product homepage, and this is the way we used to work. So a product owner would come to us. He's my product owner, generally not very happy. They then go and ask the analysts for some information about how credit cards were doing, because they own credit cards. The analysts would eventually look at the data. About 3 weeks later, they'd send back an Excel report. And the product owner couldn't really understand the Excel report, but things didn't look great. So they spoke to the trafficking department. The trafficking department goes, yeah, things don't look great. We'll give you a chunk of money. So they went and planned, costed, and either worked internally with the UX team or with the agency to go and actually set that in motion. And then as the UX team, we'd manage the agency or run it in-house to run that product. Eventually, we'd get to development, and we would launch. And it was a real firework culture. The product owners used to set the touch flame and run away. They'd send out an email going, woohoo, we're great, we've just relaunched the credit card hub. And there'd be much applause and many emails back going, you're really doing things to drive the bank of the future. But no one looked to see what actually the fireworks did. And it was a real problem. Not only that, we had hundreds of microsites. This is just a few for NatWest. They're all over the place. We even had some WAP sites still on there. Tell you how to get onto the NatWest banking using WAP. Later we can this with a project we called Machete. And we had many different designs and platforms. We had Wickham, we had Lithium, we had TeamSite, we had .NET, we had basic HTML, anything and everything we had. All with different designs. Nothing actually worked or gelled together. And each brand, NatWest and RBS, had about 800 pages each. It's a lot of digital real estate. So we started off, we got a business case together, we did an RFP for the technology, and we also, this is the first crucial step, we introduced NPS and said every person in the digital was going to be measured against how well we're doing. If we had an increase in people recommending us in advocacy, you got paid well. If you didn't, you didn't. This is where Adobe came in. So for those of you who might only know us as PDF or Photoshop or InDesign or XD, Adobe has 3 clouds. You've got the Experience Cloud, the Creative Cloud, which is all Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, and we have the Document Cloud, which is about e-signature forms and workflow. But what we first started off at RBS was the Experience Cloud. The Experience Cloud is made out of 3 other little clouds. We've got the Analytics Cloud, where you can actually make meaningful measurement. We introduced Analytics as one of the first steps. I'll go into that a little bit. And we introduced the Experience Cloud, which is the Experience Manager, which is our content management system, Target, which you use to optimize and test, do A/B testing, and personalize, and Campaign. And the reason why I'm giving you these, because I'll talk about actually their role as invisible support for the way we changed. So then we said, let's think differently. Let's put these journey managers at the heart of everything and make it really easy for them to change things. So we did stuff we all talk about all the time. We created responsive stroke adaptive web pages so you wouldn't have to think about the mobile experience. We put the rules in so the mobile experience 90% of the time would be pretty good. We also said minimal templates. We're not going to have 30, 40 well-designed, beautiful templates for every little bit of the page of the website. No, we started off with 5. Really, truthfully, apart from the homepage and a couple of forms, we only used 1. That's what ended up happening. I had grand plans for this intranet training portal. We ended up not using that because actually everyone trained each other. It took about an hour to be peer trained. And we did through that creating complex components. And these are just some examples of the Duplo. Not even Lego, I'm talking Duplo. But it meant that people could build pages very, very quickly. So this is an example of how a component might be set up. This is the mortgages homepage, I think. And there are 3 components on here. There we go, 3 complex components. Let's take this one. And this is how an editor creates it. I've done kind of mock-ups rather than actual screenshots of AM because I don't have access to RBS's system anymore. I didn't take any screenshots at the time. So you get a space, a parses as we call it. You drag your components in. It looks like this. Great, you can start filling in the content. And then once you've filled in the content, maybe vertical's good. So you don't go back, you go forward. You click on, you select maybe not horizontal, let's go vertical instead. And it changes. The important thing here is not necessarily the AM interface, the Adobe Experience Manager interface. It's the fact that you could change the way it looked without the journey manager having to re-enter the copy, without having to paste and copy in. Because every time you make someone re-enter copy, they don't do it. They go, it's good enough. It will do. And so you have to get over that. You have to stop them. You have to make it as easy as possible for them to make change, to experiment and to play with. And this is what it ended up being. We had the journey manager here. We gave them access to data. We gave them frontline data. We gave them 101 odd dashboards. And the dashboards they originally wanted, full of all the clicks and the sales, well, they're not the dashboards after they looked at the dashboards they actually wanted. They're not the dashboards they were looking for. So they changed them. And they could still speak to the analysts. Oh, that's a bit fast. So we had the data team. They could then still go and interrogate analytics, deeper dive, actually see whether the hypothesis they were forming were actually true. And at the beginning it wasn't, because actually the journey managers weren't data analysts. But they could access the data, they could think about things, and through the Experience Cloud, they could make direct digital change. And big change is possible. You could personalize, bring in the CRM data, and you could still go out to the UX team and the agency to create big change. Now, the interesting thing about this is, before we did this, the agency was worried, if journey managers can go and create everything, that's our budget gone for next year. The analysts were worried, if they can access the frontline data, what are we going to do? We just do reports at the moment. And what we got to was that the analysts, actually instead of doing reports and all the really boring stuff, they started to do the cool stuff, the stuff that paid money, the stuff that we could attribute real money to. So they created value. And the UX team, well, they stopped doing GDPR wireframes. They stopped doing FAQs. They stopped doing bank teller information screens, the really dull stuff that no one really wants to do. We focused on the bigger stuff because we created the journey managers, who it's their job anyway, we just never let them do anything, who had the budget anyway, to actually be accountable for their journeys. So if they messed up, they couldn't blame the UX team, they couldn't blame the designers. But people started changing far too much. So we had to create superstar DJs, and this is really where we got everyone 5 days training, 1 day in customer experience, 1 day in UX, 1 day, which is the most important day, on how to form a hypothesis, how to analyse data, how to create a valid test plan, and how to execute and interpret the results. And this meant that we had changed them from just owning the experience into actually connecting with their audience like DJs, and actually being able to listen and look at the crowd and respond and play the right song. And if things broke, there were technicians to help them, the UX team to help them. So we got into this test, learn, optimise, and everything on the site, bar mandatory change, went through that process. Everything had to have a hypothesis and a reason why you did this. And this meant that you got things like this. This was one of the least sexy pages. It's ways to bank. Turns out, when you look at the analytics, the third most popular entry in internet banking. And we changed the headline and the body underneath to advertise mobile banking. We got a 600% increase in adoption. Now, this wasn't the UX team or the data analysts. This is just Anna, who's a customer journey manager for ways to bank. Everyone thought, not a great area. She had a massive impact to looking through testing, through learning. And it became obvious very quickly. We ran 4 tests before we introduced Superstar DJs. Afterwards, we were running 40 plus tests a month with 6 million impressions and serving those to about 1/3 of all the impressions. And we didn't just do it across digital, reached out into the contact centre and across the channels to bring that methodology to everyone. So everyone could own the moment. And in doing that, you create a capability platform. We went through efficiency innovation, quicker, faster, cheaper. We've done all that. We were getting into sustained innovation. And we did that from moving from the tactical focus on BAU through the Adobe Experience Cloud into actual real innovation. So UX strategy is about creating an experience platform across the company. It's not about your UX vision. The UX vision will come, but you have to let it get space. You have to get the company set up in the right way. And that's hard. But ensure you change the culture. Give everyone cake, or at least money with KPIs attached to them around user experience. Empower the digital team to own that customer experience. They own the budget. They can't argue with you. You can't argue about button colours. We say test it, see if your hypothesis is right, but it's not. And then listen to those who you empower. They're the people who see things like Anna, who saw an opportunity. The person who invented the digital camera at Kodak. No one listened to them. Shame, really, for Kodak. And then the UX team can go and actually focus on the big change, the really cool stuff. So thank you.
Thank you, Ed. So we're going to have time for some questions right now. In the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and ask Andy if you can go ahead and start bringing up the panel and get set up while we do that.